Hey guys, Munsingin here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so the time is soon going to be upon us, at least we hope. We are waiting very, well, I say patiently, a lot of people very impatiently, people asking questions left and right, is when are we going to see the information for the 7-year LRs and their EZAs? So we should be seeing this sometime soon, right? We know from some of the news that's come out recently with the extension of some of the events and like bonuses and stuff like that, that it seems almost confirmed at this point that the 10th anniversary is going to have an EX part, because of course we are currently in part 3, and we got the EZAs for the Saiyan Saga characters, the Kaioken Goku and the Great Ape Vegeta. And it was kind of a toss-up at that point. We were wondering whether we would see them first or the 7th year LRs. I guess it seems like they're going for a save the best for last kind of mentality, because we still haven't seen any information on these guys yet. But we are very much nearing the end of the month, and we should be seeing some news, I would say, this week for these guys' info. Because bear in mind, if we follow the usual trend, we'll see the information for these guys on Twitter, then there'll be a data download potentially the next day, and then that's when we'll know 100% when the events are going to be in game. But usually once the information has been tweeted, the characters will then release within the next couple of days, right? Just a quick one before we get into the main topic of the video here. I want to give a shout out to everyone who has been checking out the channel during the anniversary. We've been having a lot of new people come through the channel, and as you can see from the YouTube analytics, almost half the people watching these videos during the anniversary are not subscribed to the channel. So do go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. We are getting so close to getting to 30,000 subscribers on the channel, which will be an awesome milestone to hit by the end of the anniversary. So if you've been enjoying the content and want all the future Dokkan content, not going to stop covering this game anytime soon, then do subscribe to the channel and yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. So the 7-year EZAs, I think it's not an exaggeration to say that these are probably the most anticipated EZAs in Dokkan history, maybe, I don't know. Every anniversary LR EZA, now that we have seen this pattern, of course, that they started with EZAing these previous anniversary characters, even last year people were saying, like, think how crazy it's going to be that the 7 years are going to EZA in a year's time, and now here we are, right? Because these guys, whilst they have obviously aged out because of the numbers that they currently are able to do, their basic kit, like skeleton, as we would say, their basis of their like stuff is really, really good already. So once we start getting these guys onto like 220% leads with their increased buffs from getting an EZA, these guys have the possibility to become 2 of the best units in the game once again, right? Like they were on release. And as much as we don't want to jinx things, right, some of the EZAs for this anniversary have been a little bit hit and miss. Once they've all been out, and I'll probably make a post about it so you guys contribute your ideas, I do want to make a video going over the anniversary EZAs as a whole, because I think some of them have been a little bit disappointing. Some of them have been underrated, and some of them have just been straight up crazy, right? Like Buhan Super EZA. But yeah, they'd have to try really, really hard to fumble these guys' EZA, right? Because one of the things that makes them good straight off the bat is they have guard guaranteed on the first turn. And then we get additional 1 key per key sphere obtained and additional attack and defense 77% for 7 turns. Now that fights are getting to be even longer with the amount of HP that these bosses are having, I could see them actually increasing the turn counter on this, as well as increasing the stat buff, because obviously getting more stats is going to be very beneficial. Their base effects, they just have 120% attack and defense at the start of turn, and then additional key per type key sphere obtained. So this 120, obviously we would like to see this go up. And then for the gods, every rainbow key sphere obtained, they get 7% crit chance. They get a guaranteed additional super at 20 key, and then attacks effective against all types at 24. And then when we look at the Super Saiyan 4s, I guess actually in their base, they are exactly the same, right? It's the crit chance and then additional super at 20, attacks effective against all types at 24. So the big thing with their base form that could make them absolutely godly is increasing this guard to potentially 3 turns, right? Because their biggest weakness, of even with their release, was that on turn 3 they could potentially get caught because they can transform starting from turn 4. So turn 1 they come in, they have guard, then on their second appearance they don't have guard anymore, and then it's not until their next appearance that they can transform, unless I guess you're floating them off on their first turn. But the thing is with these guys, because they are stacking on both of their super attacks, you don't really want to transform them straight away, right? You want to try and stack up with them as much as possible. So if they have guard for even 1 extra turn, right, even if it becomes guard all attacks for 3 turns, that would be super good. Obviously, if it went to 4 turns, it means you could still float them off, and on their second appearance they would have guard. That would be great. I wouldn't expect anything more than that. Obviously, if we want these guys to be crazy broken, it would be... I mean, I guess the ultimate end of the scale is that they just have guard guaranteed, but guard for 5 turns is maybe a little bit of an overreach, because I suppose they do transform on turn 4. So if their base passive is guard for 5 turns and then they can transform on turn 4, they would have to do that thing that transforming guard characters will often have now, where once they transform, part of their transformed passive would then have to be that they guard for 1 turn, because if you're transforming with them on turn 5, where the base form would still have guard and then the transformed version isn't, that can be a bit disappointing, right? But increasing the amount of turns that guard is active is going to be really big for these guys. And then something that would be really good is if their 18 key super becomes greatly raise attack and defense, right, as the infinite stack, because we want to get as many stacks with these guys as possible before we transform, so we can get the best performance out of their transformed state, but we don't want to leave them in the untransformed state for too long, because we want to get the more powerful version of the cards out, right? So greatly raise on the 18 key would be really, really good. Other than that, for their base, like I say, their base kit is so good already. Like, anything else being added in is just like, I feel like asking too much, right? And there's not likely we're going to get a chance for them to do another additional super, right? Because they can already do 3 supers in 1 turn with the hidden potential if you get 20 key. I mean, imagine that if they made 24 key, effective against all types, and another additional super. Like, that would be absolutely crazy. I guess what they could do is maybe the crit chance on the rainbow orbs, maybe put that up to 10%. Because realistically, at most you can only get 5, which is pretty difficult. So you're usually only looking at like 3 on average, maybe 4. So putting it up to 10% per orb is not going to like make a huge difference in terms of making them too broken or something, but is obviously going to be very good for their overall performance. So the important thing then now is what happens with their transformed states. So Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, obviously these guys, their 18 key super, they massively raise for 1 turn, which is 100%, which is really, really good. And then greatly raise on the 12 key. They got basic attack effects, attack and defense 177. I can see this easily going up to at least 200. 2 extra key per type key sphere, attacks effective against all types. Then Gogeta has a medium chance to crit, so that could easily just go up to high chance and still not be crazy busted. And then he has a high chance of launching an additional super. Now the gods, when they've transformed, they just get an additional super, don't they? They get an additional super at 20 key and attacks effective against all types at 16 key. And yeah, Gogeta doesn't get that. So Gogeta doesn't have a key requirement. He just has a high chance of launching an additional super. But getting 20 key with these units is not difficult, right? So the gods get a guaranteed additional super and Gogeta doesn't. They obviously tried to balance them out a little bit because Gogeta has the ability to counter super attacks. Could you imagine if they actually increase his high chance to counter to make it great chance, like the Tech Super Saiyan 4? That would actually be crazy if he had a great chance to counter supers. Because depending on what they give these guys in terms of the stat increases and stuff, if Gogeta is strong enough to go in slot 1, then also having a 70% chance to counter supers is going to make him an insanely powerful slot 1 unit. And then every key sphere obtained, he gets 7% crit chance and 7% damage reduction. They get 7% crit chance and 7% chance to dodge. Again, much like the base form, I feel like if you increase this to 10%, it's not going to be the most insane buff. I suppose for the gods, if we're talking about these buffs increasing from medium chance, if they change to high chance to dodge, and then imagine they got 10% dodge chance with each rainbow orb, on the turns where you could get 5 rainbow orbs, they would have 100% chance to dodge. Although I'm not sure if those two would be calculated separately, like hidden potential and passive dodges are. But even if they were calculated separately, like that would still be very, very good. If they have a base 50% chance to dodge, then they have a separate, like normally on average we said 3 or 4 orbs, like 30 or 40% chance to dodge as a secondary like backup. That would be incredibly good. I don't see the super attack effects changing because obviously massively raise on the 18 key and greatly raise on the 12 key is very, very good. And then obviously the attacks effective against all types guaranteed additional super. I mean, maybe for these guys, they have the dodge chance and Gogeta has the super. So maybe if you switch those around, right, so that then with 20 key, Gogeta has a chance to do another additional super, and then at like 20 key, these guys have a chance to additional super as well, right? So these guys have he has a high chance to launch an additional, they have a medium chance to dodge. So I guess this guy at 20 key could have medium chance to dodge, and then at 20 key these guys could have the I guess that still gives them too many more supers. I guess they could have the crit chance, I guess, so they've got that already. Yeah, it's just a shame he has the high chance to launch the additional super as part of his base kit. So there's nothing really you could give him at 20 key that he doesn't already have that they have other than dodge. And then what would you give them? Because they've already got the additional super at 20 key. So I guess the balance between these two has always been a little bit weird. And I guess it's just because of the stock that they put in the super attack countering and how effective that is, which, I mean, it is obviously a very, very powerful ability. But let me know what you guys think. How would you make these two closer in power in terms of their transform state? I mean, obviously, they both hit incredibly hard. They do have a selection of really good abilities. And then, of course, they both have the active skill. HP 50% or less, or when facing one enemy whose HP is 50% or less. And it just does big damage, and all the attacks in the turn are guaranteed crits. I can't imagine that changing. I mean, we've seen like the insane busted effect that the Gogeta active skill has, the new Gogeta, with giving everybody a buff on the turn. If they put something like that on these guys as well, even if they made it like Gogeta's where it's self-excluded, that would still be incredibly powerful. So, I mean, the future is looking pretty good for these guys. Like I say, I feel like with the base kit they have, it's going to be very, very difficult to fumble these EZAs. Obviously, we keep our fingers crossed, right? Because you never know, I suppose. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like these guys are going to be absolutely incredible. So let me know what you would most want to see from the EZAs for the 7-year LRs down below in the comment section. We should hopefully see the details on their EZAs as early as tomorrow. This video is going to be going up at 10 PM UK time, so news normally gets tweeted out at around 8 AM my time, so potentially 10 hours from when this video goes up, we may be seeing the details for the 7-year EZAs. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Like I say, what do you most want to see from their EZAs? Let me know all your thoughts down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.